world has seen many talented artists, but some have struggled with alcohol addiction. These struggles often affected their careers and personal lives, sometimes leading to tragic ends. Here, we look at 25 of the worst alcoholics in music history and how their battles with alcohol impacted them. Let's begin. Number 25, Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse was a shining star in the music industry, but behind her powerful voice and retro style, Winehouse battled a demon that would ultimately claim her life: alcoholism. Her struggles with addiction began in her early 20s, and soon she was drinking heavily to cope with the pressures of fame. The consequences were devastating. Winehouse's relationship suffered, her health deteriorated, and her music, though still brilliant, became increasingly erratic. On July 23, 2011, Winehouse's addiction finally consumed her, and she was found dead in her London flat at just 28 years old. Number 24, Vince Welnick. Vince Welnick was a talented keyboardist, best known for his time with the Grateful Dead. Despite his musical success, Vince struggled with alcohol addiction, which deeply affected his life and career. His battle with alcohol led to personal and professional difficulties, ultimately contributing to his departure from the band. Sadly, Vince's struggles with addiction and mental health issues culminated in his tragic death in 2006. His story serves as a somber reminder of the devastating effects of alcohol addiction. Number 23, Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison, the enigmatic frontman of The Doors, was a creative genius consumed by his demons. His struggles with alcohol and drug abuse began early, and soon he was using substances to cope with the pressures of fame. Morrison's addiction led to erratic behavior, damaged relationships, and a decline in his health. On July 3, 1971, his addiction finally claimed his life at just 27 years old. Despite his tragic demise, Morrison's legacy as one of rock music's most influential and controversial figures endures. Number 22, Barry Oakley. Barry Oakley was the talented bassist for the Allman Brothers Band, known for his deep, soulful playing. Despite his musical prowess, Barry struggled with alcohol addiction, which took a toll on his life and career. His battle with alcohol led to erratic behavior and personal struggles. Tragically, Barry's life was cut short when he died in a motorcycle accident at the age of 24, just a year after the death of bandmate Duane Allman. Number 21, Janis Joplin. Janis Joplin, the queen of blues rock, was a powerhouse vocalist with a heart-wrenching story. Her struggles with alcohol and drug abuse began in her teenage years, and soon she was using substances to cope with the pressures of fame and personal demons. Joplin's addiction led to a downward spiral of self-destruction, affecting her relationships and health. On October 4, 1970, her addiction finally claimed her life at just 27 years old. Despite her tragic demise, Joplin's soulful voice and legacy continue to inspire generations of music lovers. Number 20, John Bonham. John Bonham, the legendary drummer of Led Zeppelin, struggled with alcohol addiction throughout his career. His excessive drinking led to erratic behavior, damaged relationships, and a decline in his health. On the eve of their UK tour in 1982, Bonham and tour manager Benji LaFerve found Jimmy Page dead in his bed, surrounded by lyric sheets, guitars, and needles. The shock of Page's death devastated Bonham, and the band decided to call it quits. Despite his brief success touring with The Who, Bonham's addiction ultimately consumed him, leading to a life of turmoil and tragedy. Number 19, Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks battled a long and tumultuous relationship with cocaine and alcohol. Her addiction began in the 1970s, fueled by the pressures of fame and a troubled romance with bandmate Lindsey Buckingham. As her substance abuse worsened, Nicks's health and relationships suffered. She eventually sought treatment in the 1980s, but not before a near-fatal overdose. Nick's struggles with addiction have been well documented, serving as a cautionary tale for the music industry. Despite her dark past, she continues to cast a spell on audiences with her haunting voice and timeless songs. Number 18, Ron McKeeman. Ron Pigpen McKernan, a founding member of the Grateful Dead, struggled with alcohol abuse throughout his life. By his mid-20s, his health began to deteriorate due to excessive drinking. His addiction affected his performances, causing the band to consider replacing him. McKernan's struggles with alcohol ultimately took a toll on his relationships and health, leading to a tragic decline in his life. Despite his talent, McKernan's addiction overshadowed his contributions to the Grateful Dead's unique sound. And number 17, Dennis Wilson. Dennis Wilson, the Beach Boys drummer and vocalist, struggled with alcoholism and drug abuse throughout his life. His addiction worsened in the 1970s, exacerbating tensions with his bandmates and affecting his health. Wilson's substance abuse led to erratic behavior, including a 1978 arrest for sharing drugs and alcohol with a minor. His struggles with addiction ultimately contributed to his tragic death by drowning in 1983 at age 39. Number 16, Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix, a legendary guitarist and singer, struggled with addiction and exhaustion in the weeks leading up to his death. He was dealing with pending lawsuits, a troubled relationship with his manager, and a persistent illness. Hendrix's insecurities and disillusionment with the music industry contributed to his frustration. On September 15, 1970, he took 9 sleeping tablets, which ultimately led to his tragic death. His addiction and struggles with sleep deprivation had a devastating consequence, cutting short a brilliant music career. Number 15, Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne, the legendary heavy metal musician, struggled with addiction for nearly half a century. His public struggles with drugs and alcohol led to numerous arrests, including incidents of public intoxication and violent behavior. Despite his addiction, Ozzy continued to perform and release music, but his personal life suffered. In 2013, he revealed on Facebook that he had relapsed, but has since committed to sobriety. Today, Ozzy remains focused on his health, receiving treatment for Parkinson's disease, and continues to release new music. Number 14, Keith Moon. Keith Moon, the iconic drummer for The Who, was known for his wild and unpredictable behavior. His excessive drinking and drug use became a major part of his persona, earning him the nickname Moon the Loon. Moon's addiction led to numerous incidents of destructive behavior, including trashing hotel rooms and driving cars into swimming pools. Tragically, his addiction also contributed to his death in 1978 when he accidentally overdosed on a sedative. Moon's legacy as a musician and performer remains, but his struggles with addiction serve as a cautionary tale. Number 13, Brian Jones. Brian Jones, the founding member of the Rolling Stones, struggled with addiction throughout his life. His excessive drinking and drug use led to erratic behavior, causing tension within the band. Jones's addiction also affected his creativity, and he became increasingly unreliable. Tragically, his addiction contributed to his death in 1969 when he drowned in his swimming pool at the age of 27. Number 12, Graham Bond. Graham Bond, a British musician, struggled with addiction throughout his life. His excessive drug use and heavy drinking led to mental disorders, including manic episodes and periods of intense depression. Despite his struggles, Bond was a pioneer of British blues, introducing the mellotron and Hammond organ to British audiences. He formed the Graham Bond Organization, which later became a launching pad for famous musicians like Ginger Baker and Jack Bruce. Bond's music was a unique blend of jazz and R&B, but his addiction ultimately affected his career and personal life. Number 11, Tommy Dorsey. Tommy Dorsey, the legendary big band leader, had a secret. He was a heavy drinker. His addiction to alcohol led to erratic behavior, causing tension among his band members and affecting his relationships. Despite his success, Dorsey's drinking problem worsened over time, leading to health issues and a decline in his career. Tragically, he died in 1956 at the age of 51, choking on his own vomit after a night of heavy drinking. Dorsey's story serves as a reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked addiction. Number 10, Hank Williams Sr. Hank Williams Sr., a country music icon, battled with alcoholism throughout his life. His addiction to morphine, amphetamines, and other painkillers prescribed for his back pain worsened his condition. Despite his success, Williams' drinking problem led to erratic behavior, affecting his relationships and career. Tragically, he died at 29 from heart failure, likely caused by his substance abuse. Number 9, Mike Bloomfield. Mike Bloomfield, a renowned guitarist, battled with anxiety, insomnia, and addiction to drugs and alcohol. His struggles led to erratic behavior, affecting his relationships and career. Despite his talent, Bloomfield's addiction worsened over time, causing him to leave gigs or not show up. He died in 1981 at 37, a tragic consequence of his unchecked addiction. Bloomfield's story serves as a reminder of the devastating effects of substance abuse, even for those who achieve great success. Number 8, Richard Manuel. Richard Manuel, a talented musician and member of the band, struggled with addiction and depression throughout his life. Despite his professional demeanor on stage, Manuel's addiction took a toll on his personal life and relationships. He toured with Gene Clark and other musicians, but his constant drug abuse on the road affected his well-being. Tragically, Manuel died in 1986 at 42, a consequence of his unchecked addiction. His legacy lives on through his soulful voice and contributions to the band's unique sound. Number 7, Bon Scott. Bon Scott, AC/DC's iconic lead singer, lived life to the extreme. His hard-partying lifestyle and excessive drinking became legendary, often leaving him passed out on stage or in hotel rooms. Despite his charismatic stage presence, Scott's addiction took a devastating toll on his health. On February 19, 1980, Scott's partying finally caught up with him, and he died in his car after a night of heavy drinking. His tragic death at 33 shocked the music world, leaving behind a legacy of unforgettable rock anthems. Number 6, Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday, a legendary jazz singer, struggled with addiction and personal demons throughout her life. Her traumatic childhood, marked by abandonment and abuse, contributed to her dependent personality and lack of moral discipline. Holiday's addiction to drugs and alcohol took a devastating toll on her health, leading to a prison sentence and, eventually, her death from heart failure at 44. Despite her talent and iconic songs like Strange Fruit, Holiday's life was marred by her struggles with addiction, leaving behind a legacy of tragedy and heartbreak. Number 5, Chet Baker. Chet Baker, the cool jazz trumpeter, was known for his smooth, melancholic sound. But behind the scenes, Baker's life was a mess of addiction and excess. He struggled with heroin and alcohol, often showing up to gigs high or drunk. His addiction led to a downward spiral of arrests, jail time, and health problems. Despite his talent, Baker's substance abuse issues overshadowed his music, and he died in 1988 after falling from a hotel window, likely under the influence. His tragic story serves as a cautionary tale of the dangers of addiction. Number 4, Eddie Cochran. Eddie Cochran, the 1950s rock and roll pioneer, lived a life of excess and rebellion. His music, including hits like Summertime Blues, reflected his wild and free-spirited nature. But Cochran's love of partying and drinking ultimately led to his downfall. He died in 1960 at just 21, after a car accident in which he was thrown from the vehicle while drunk. Cochran's tragic death was a wake-up call for the music industry, highlighting the dangers of substance abuse and the devastating consequences of reckless behavior. Number 3, John Entwistle. John Entwistle, The Who's legendary bassist, struggled with alcoholism throughout his life. In a candid interview, he revealed the devastating impact of his addiction, saying, "I wasted my whole career on The Who." Entwistle's excessive drinking led to health problems, including complications with cocaine and heart disease, which ultimately contributed to his tragic death at 57. His story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of substance abuse and its far-reaching consequences. Number 2, Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra's reputation as a great drinker is rooted in his larger-than-life persona and his legendary lifestyle. Here are some reasons why Sinatra is often celebrated for his drinking habits. 1. Iconic image. Sinatra's image was closely tied to the glamour and sophistication of mid-20th century America. His frequent appearances with a drink in hand became a hallmark of his suave and debonair persona. 2. Signature drink. Sinatra was known for his love of Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey. He famously called it the nectar of the gods and was rarely seen without a glass of it. This association helped cement his image as a connoisseur of fine spirits. 3. Cultural influence. As a member of the Rat Pack, alongside Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and others, Sinatra's drinking was part of a broader cultural phenomenon. The Rat Pack epitomized cool, and their hard-drinking, hard-living lifestyle became aspirational for many. 4. Personal style. Sinatra's approach to drinking was marked by a certain style and ritual. He often drank whiskey with a few ice cubes, a practice that became part of his overall sophisticated image. 5. Stories and anecdotes. Numerous stories and anecdotes about Sinatra's drinking habits have contributed to his legend. These tales often highlight his charm, wit, and the effortless way he handled his liquor. 6. Enduring legacy. Even decades after his heyday, Sinatra's association with drinking continues to be celebrated in popular culture. His songs, such as One for My Baby and One More for the Road, reinforce the connection between his music and his love of a good drink. Overall, Frank Sinatra's reputation as a great drinker is as much about his charismatic personality and cultural impact as it is about his actual drinking habits. Number 1, Buddy Holly. Buddy Holly, a pioneer of rock and roll, struggled with the pressures of fame and turned to alcohol to cope. His excessive drinking led to health problems and ultimately contributed to his tragic death at just 22. Holly's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of substance abuse and its devastating consequences. Despite his short career, Holly left a lasting impact on music, inspiring legends like Bruce Springsteen and the Grateful Dead. His legacy continues to inspire new generations of musicians and fans alike. This is where we'll end our video. We hope you enjoyed watching it. Make sure to comment, hit that like, and subscribe button. Hit that notification bell for more videos like this. Share this video with your family and friends. See you soon.